This is VOA News. Reporting by remote, I'm David Byrd. The White House says U.S. intelligence officials have determined a Russian effort is underway to create a pretext for its troops to further invade Ukraine, and Moscow has already pre-positioned operatives to conduct a false flag operation in eastern Ukraine. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said the intelligence findings show that Russia is laying the groundwork through social media misinformation and framing Ukraine as an aggressor in the crisis.
We are concerned that the Russian government is preparing for an invasion in Ukraine that may result in widespread human rights violations and war crimes should diplomacy fail to meet their objectives.
Psaki charged that Russia has already dispatched operatives trained in urban warfare who could use explosives to carry out acts of sabotage against Russia's own proxy forces, blaming those acts on Ukraine. Russia has 100,000 troops, along with tanks and heavy military equipment, stationed along its border with Ukraine. However, the Kremlin has denied it is planning to invade. Thousands of supporters of Mali's government demonstrated in Bamako Friday against sanctions imposed on the country. The Economic Community of West African States, or ECOWAS, suspended most commerce and financial aid to the country after Mali's junta delayed elections expected for next month until 2026. Members of ECOWAS also closed land and air borders to Mali and activated the bloc's standby force ready for any eventuality. The move followed a proposal by Mali's junta to stay in power for up to 5 years before staging elections, despite international demands that it respect a promise to hold the vote in February. For more on these stories and the rest of the day's news, visit our website. This is VOA News. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's office officially apologized to Queen Elizabeth Friday for holding staff parties at Downing Street on the eve of Prince Philip's funeral last year, the latest in a string of allegedly lockdown-breaching gatherings that are threatening to topple the British Prime Minister. Farewell parties for Johnson's departing spin doctor and another staffer, complete with late-night drinking and dancing, took place on April 16, 2021, the night before Queen Elizabeth sat alone at her husband's funeral because of social distancing rules in place to slow the spread of the coronavirus. Johnson spokesman Jamie Davies said that it's deeply regrettable that this took place at a time of national mourning. The White House says Americans can start using a new website next week to ask for free COVID-19 tests. AP's Sagar Magani reports.
COVIDtest.gov will start accepting orders Wednesday. Each residential address can get 4 tests. Shipping is free, but likely won't be fast. The White House says tests will typically go out within a week to 12 days after ordered. President Biden announced last month the U.S. would launch the program with 500 million tests, and yesterday said he'd double it.
I mean, 1 billion tests in total.
Officials say they're ready to handle the website launch and expected demand for tests, though memories of the Obama administration's disastrous healthcare.gov rollout remain fresh. Sagar Magani, Washington.
Lawyers for world number 1 men's tennis player Novak Djokovic are hoping to prevent his deportation after Australia revoked the tennis star's visa for a second time just days before the start of the Australian Open. Reuters' Rachel Judah has more.
His lawyers have said cancelling the sportsman's visa over fears it would excite anti-vaccination sentiment were irrational and hope their challenge could be heard by Sunday, the day before the Australian Open tournament starts. The Age newspaper reported that Djokovic had been asked to present himself for an interview with immigration officials on Saturday and will remain out of detention until then. Immigration Minister Alex Hawke used discretionary powers to revoke the visa after a previous court appeal released the player from detention on Monday. Under the law used, Djokovic would not be able to secure a visa to Australia for the next 3 years, except in compelling circumstances. Throughout the pandemic, Australia has endured some of the world's longest lockdowns, has achieved a 90% vaccination rate among adults, and has seen a runaway Omicron outbreak bring nearly 1 million cases in the last 2 weeks.
That's Reuters' Rachel Judah. A mixed day on Wall Street, with the Dow Jones Industrials losing 0.56%, but the S&P gaining 0.08% and the Nasdaq rising 0.59%. Reporting by remote,